Hey folks, Dumock the artist coming at you once again from my hidden bunker deep within the bowels of the city. You know, um, yes, I know I haven't made a video for quite some time, mainly because I've had other things that are going on. Just recently, my video to Bionic Dance was, basically me just kind of like dipping my feet in to see what the response is going to be. However, this particular video is where I'm going to address some stuff that I know is like a constant theme on my channel. Um, as many of you, some of you may not be aware of, I had been attending a Unitarian Universalist church for about almost 5 years. Eventually, I decided to walk away from that. Um, Not necessarily relevant to the topic I want to talk about, but it's sort of like a life change type of thing where I kind of been undergoing a bit of a transformation in terms of my own personal gnosis type of thing. So I'm just going to drop that and leave that there. But one of the things I kind of did want to talk about was the fact that um, you know, every once in a great while, I still have quite a few conservative evangelical Christians that I kind of, sort of, but not really quite keep in touch with. These are individuals that, I've known for a very long time, and they were part of my life before I left the church. You get the idea. And every once in a while, I'll find a story regarding some of the things that have been going on, especially with regards to politics and in terms of how many religious folks have been following the neoconservative movement in terms of its ideology and also like following the teabaggers, etc., and so on. And every once in a great while, I come across something where I find something that they do politically that goes completely contrary to their religious ideology and to the teachings of the founder of the religion, Jesus. And I'm just curious as to why they kind of refuse to say anything. Like, take for instance the death of Fred Phelps. Now, granted, most of my evangelical friends would say that Phelps is a really bad example of Christianity and how Christians are not to be. However, there is also a gentleman who, I forget his name, escapes me at the moment, who was basically an evangelical preacher that went to Uganda and stirred up a lot of homophobia regarding the dreaded gay agenda. This particular wave of homophobia eventually resulted in the current Uganda's Kill the Gays bill, or Jail the Gays for Life, whichever one you want to go with. And essentially, this bill is based on nothing more than a bunch of videos that this guy had slapped together talking about what gays supposedly do in the bedroom. And apparently, this is shown throughout Uganda as this one horrible and terrible thing, and how people should be afraid. And mind you, this is a lot of the stuff that, even these are films that even the gay people would go, yeah, no, don't do that. No, not interested. No judgments, but that's not something I'm not into. Um, but this is the kind of information that had been circulated around Uganda, and every once in a while, when I talk about this story and I mention the fact that this is the result of evangelicals going to this country and preaching about homophobia, instead of going there and feeding the homeless, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, taking care of the sick, that sort of thing, they essentially have been creating no end of problems for people that they don't even know. And I have to ask my conservative friends, you know, what is it going to take for you guys to say something? Seriously? What is it going to take for you guys to speak out against this sort of thing? Because let's face it, you know this is making you look even worse than normal. And not only that, but you know, does it really, does your silence really mean that you support what they're doing in Uganda in terms of the Kill the Gays bill? We know Pat Robertson supports it. We know that Ted Cruz supports it. We know that many other evangelical Christian leaders support the Kill the Gays bill and support the legislation, which would essentially result in innocent people being persecuted for no other reason that they just happen to have loved a consenting adult of the same gender. Is it really something that you want to remain silent on, or is it something that maybe you might want to speak out and say something against and maybe start screaming it out from the rooftops? Now, I'm not talking about agreeing with homosexuality. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that you have to agree with gay marriage or marriage equality. I'm not saying you have to agree with homosexuality or homosexuals. I don't necessarily agree with it. Otherwise, I'd be a homosexual. I'd be with a man instead of a woman. But the fact of the matter is, oppressing people is a bad thing, and Jesus spoke out heavily against that. There are countless scriptures where the prophets talked about oppressing those, for no reason. So why are not the conservative evangelical community saying something about it? I want to hear your thoughts. Post them down below in the comment section, or make a video response. Heck, I'm more than willing to accept one of those. If any one of you conservative evangelicals can answer the question, please feel free. Do you support what's going on in Uganda? And if not, why aren't you saying anything about it? The reason I'm asking this is because a lot of you guys came down on the Muslims hard, saying that the Muslims did not speak out against terrorist acts against the United States. But here we have an example of a terrorist act being committed by the evangelical community against innocent people, and the evangelical Christians in this country are not saying a thing about it. Is that right? This is Dumak the Artist signing off. Slanchini Falcha. Have a nice day.